Welcome to Live Life Fearlessly, the podcast where we embrace courage, authenticity, and the power to transform your life. I'm Amanda Gervasi, a life, leadership, career, and relationship coach, here to help you break through barriers and create a life you love. Let's dive in and live fearlessly. Welcome back to Live Life Fearlessly, the podcast where we dive into topics that help you live your best life, your boldest life, and your most fearless life. I'm Amanda Gervasi, your host, coach, and your biggest cheerleader. Today, we're talking about something that so many people have experienced or at least thought about, and that's the world of online dating. Whether you love it or you hate it, online dating has changed how we connect and how we find love. So let's break it down. We'll discuss the pros and cons of online dating, the do's and don'ts of creating an attractive profile, how to navigate conversations and first dates, and the best dating apps out there, and how to really approach online dating with confidence and authenticity. So, are you ready? Let's dive right into things. So, online dating has really come a long way from its early days. I mean, think lava life, right? I mean, remember when it was seen as taboo? I'm sure you know people, or maybe you were on it during that time when it was embarrassing to say that you were on an online dating app. You found somebody on an app. It wasn't something that people were proud of. Now it's one of the most common ways to meet people, you know, where you're going to probably meet your partner. Statistics show that about 40% of relationships today start online. Crazy, right? I mean, this is the norm now, how people date, how people meet new people. There's apps for everyone, whether you're looking for something casual, something more serious, or like a really niche interest, there's an app for that. Okay. But what's really the big draw? Well, in the age of immediate satisfaction, there is the convenience factor. I mean, we are busier than ever, and online dating really allows us the ability to connect with people outside of our usual circle, right? People we'd probably never meet otherwise. So it really is a great opportunity. It's also great for those introverts out there, those who really struggle to meet people in person. It makes it easier when you're behind a screen. Of course, there's the flip side, right? I mean, online dating can really feel overwhelming. There's the sheer number of apps, profiles, messages that come in. Sometimes it can honestly feel like a full time job, and I have been there, so I get it. Plus, there's the issue of ghosting, catfishing, and just endless small talk that leads nowhere and just wastes your time. Sound familiar? Well, hang tight because we're going to tackle all of these challenges. I've been there. So hopefully we can navigate it all together. All right, let's really talk about some of the dating apps that are currently out there, and whether they're good or not. And that really depends on what you're looking for, right? There are so many dating apps. So, how do you know which one is right for you? Let's go over some of the most popular ones and their pros and cons. And, just going to give you kind of very high level on some of these apps. There are more than what I'm going to mention. So it's giving you a little taste of what's out there. And the first one we're going to start with is kind of the OG of apps, and that's Tinder. So, Tinder, because it's been around for so long and it's a free app, There is a huge user base. It's really easy to use. It's great for casual dating and making new connections. Um, I've never been on Tinder, I'll be very honest, but I know many people that have been on Tinder and have met people on Tinder. And I think at one time you could find more meaningful relationships on there. I think right now Tinder has really become used mostly for casual dating, hooking up. So if you're looking for something meaningful, Tinder is not probably the best app for you. It can feel really superficial because there's such a user base and it's just so easy to swipe to the next. You might encounter lots of ghosting. And like I said, many users just really aren't looking for anything too serious. So if you are going on Tinder, know what you're getting yourself into. And as long as you're fine, looking for something a little bit more casual, this might be an app that's best for you. Kind of the next step up from there is Bumble. Bumble I've been on. I liked Bumble. What I liked most about it is that women can make the first move on Bumble. So I liked that autonomy of being able to make that first move and not have a million people trying to message me. It's nice not to feel so overwhelmed with messages, I'll be honest. It's a great app if you're looking for relationships. There's an option for friendships. You get to put kind of what type of relationship you're looking for on there. So that helps kind of weed out people that you're not necessarily going to match with. With that being said, it has a pretty big user base. It is free. I think there is a paid option to it, but for the most part, it's free. And even when somebody puts maybe that they're looking for something serious, it's not always the case. Um, it is what it is. Swipe responsibly and ask lots of questions to see if it's the right match. Really, with any of these apps, that's what's important. Um, with Bumble, I mean, if someone doesn't really respond within 24 hours, you need to be aware that the match does disappear. So don't be discouraged, but you just have to keep swiping. I mean, a lot of these apps, you're in it for the long run and you just need to be patient. But I liked Bumble, especially if you're a girl. It does give you that autonomy to not be overwhelmed with messages and for you to make the first move. Next up from there, we have is Hinge. So, Hinge is technically designed for relationships and encourages deeper connections. It is a paid app. I think there's a free option to it, but it doesn't really give you much. So, you kind of do have to pay if you really want to use it to its benefit. Um, it does prompt you to create a more detailed profile. With that being said, I did use both and I found you had a lot of the same people on both. Um, so use it, try it. It may work for you. Ultimately, with all these apps, I do suggest being on more than one. Um, Partly because you're going to meet different people on different apps, and there just might be apps that you feel more comfortable with, that you connect better with, that are just better for your lifestyle. Hinge might be one of those. The thing with Hinge is that there is a smaller user base than Tinder, for example, because there is a paid option, or because it's for the most part you do, if you want to use all the options available, all the benefits of the app, you do have to pay for it. So you're not going to get as many people on there. What is positive about this is usually you're getting people more serious, but I'll be honest, like I said earlier, most of the people, or many of the people that I saw on Bumble were also on Hinge. So just because they say, or the app is intended, I think, for more serious relationships, doesn't necessarily mean that people are looking for serious relationships on that app. So sometimes it's just they're on it because maybe it's better quality because you have to pay for it. Maybe check it out. OkCupid, this is a newer app. What's nice about OkCupid is it provides comprehensive profiles, a more detailed matching algorithm. So it's really great for those looking for serious relationships. So unlike, Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, they don't really have these types of comprehensive profiles. There is a little bit, but this is goes in much more detail. So if you're looking for something serious, this is an app for you. I have not been on it, but it does look to be a really great app. Negatives about this one, it can be time consuming to fill out. And honestly, some people just don't put in the effort. So, and again, you don't have as big of a user base on this one either. So, it can be really good if you're filling it out and you're using it to its benefit, but some people are lazy. And so you might not get those great matches that you're hoping to get, which leads us to kind of the OGs of this type of matchmaking profiles that you need to complete, and that's Match.com and eHarmony. I have been on both of them. eHarmony is extremely detailed. Again, it's extremely time consuming, but I do know many people that have had a high success rate in long term relationships with eHarmony. The negative about it is you only get to see who you've been matched with, and it's so dependent on what you've put in your profile. So I personally didn't love it. Uh, I found partly I was meeting people almost too much like me. I want a little bit, uh, opposites attract to some degree. To some degree. Um, but I didn't like the fact that I had no autonomy at all. It was just whoever they matched me with that day were the only people that I could speak to. Positives of that is you might connect with somebody that you never thought to approach, and it might be a hit, it might be a huge success. So, pros and cons to eHarmony. Um, again, take your time. It can be time consuming, but it can really pay off. Match.com, that is where I met my fiance. And so for me, it was a huge success. And I know many people that have had lots of success with Match.com. Again, there's a comprehensive profile that you need to complete on there. Um, Again, they provide you matches per day, but with Match.com, you also get to go out and search the user base on your own to see if you can find a match. And to be honest, that's where I found my fiance. So I'm glad that I had that opportunity because we may not have technically matched unless I was looking around at the different users on the app. What's also really nice about Match.com is kind of like Bumble, you could put yourself in a private mode so that you can reach out first and you, again, are not inundated with a million messages. So I really like Match. I think it's a great option if you are looking for something serious. And again, it is a paid app. Both of those are paid apps. So be prepared for that. But again, be prepared that you are going to find more serious people on there. The other option that is becoming really popular is Facebook dating. So it allows you to connect with your existing social network. There's no extra apps needed. So that's really positive. It's also positive because whoever you're going to connect with, you probably either know or know somebody that knows them. So you have that kind of recommendation already, or you can get that recommendation and know what you're getting into ahead of time, which is really nice. With that being said, it's a more limited audience. Some people aren't necessarily comfortable dating through Facebook, but the option is there, and people are definitely using it and they're finding success with it. So these are some of the options. There are lots of different options, and within all of these apps, like I said, you can put in kind of what you're looking for. If you're looking for something more serious, if you're looking for something more casual, there's options for if you're part of like LGBTQ community. Lots of different options available, lots of different apps available to suit all of your needs. And I do recommend, again, use more than one and figure out what works best for you. I mean, the key is to choose an app based on what you are specifically looking for, right? So know what you want before you go in. And hopefully that'll make it easier and less frustrating. All right. Some of the pros and cons of online dating as a whole. So now that we've covered some popular apps, let's really talk about online dating in general. Okay. So, a convenience of online dating is you can swipe and chat from anywhere. Okay. It is just convenient. I mean, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You can do it while you're out. You can do it while you're on vacation. So it's nice to be able to potentially meet someone, whether it's friendship, casual, or serious, anywhere you are at any time. Convenience factor is huge for online dating, right? You also have more options. You're exposed to people that you probably never would have crossed paths with, which again is nice. You might connect with somebody you never thought you would because they're not part of your normal social circle, and you might find a really unexpected connection. All right, next one, clarity. Some apps are really upfront about what people are looking for, what they want, whether it's relationship, friendship, something casual. So again, it helps you weed out the people that are not looking for the same thing as you. You know that kind of upfront because it's usually in their profile. All right. Then you have control. You get to decide who you connect with and when. You can connect all day. You can choose to close yourself off and connect only on times that work best for you, but you have the control. Some cons about online dating, and this is where some people can get frustrated. There's the burnout. I mean, if you've ever felt like you're just swiping for the sake of it, that is a real thing. Like you've burned yourself out. You're just swiping just because, and you don't even know why anymore. I get it. It can be frustrating and monotonous, and it's not always fun. It can also be inauthentic. Not everyone is truthful as they should be in their profiles. And so that can also be frustrating when maybe you're somebody that is honest and is looking for something specific, and people say that they are too. And then you get to know them and they've just wasted your time. Analysis paralysis. There are just too many options, and sometimes that can make it really hard to choose or commit. And you see this a lot where you go in there and you connect with somebody, but then you're thinking, this is good, but there could be something better. And you swipe. And so you could be missing out on some really good connections because you're constantly looking for the next best thing. There's also lots of superficial connections. I mean, it's easy to judge based on looks rather than substance. And that happens a lot. So sometimes people aren't even reading your profile. They're just looking at, hey, you're really good looking. I'm attracted to you. And so, again, I know this has happened to me where I'm like, don't you read my profile? I'm looking for something serious. And I have somebody that's just looking to hook up. So that can be frustrating sometimes, but stick with it. I mean, the key is to approach online dating with balance and realistic expectations. Ultimately, it's a tool and it's not a magic wand. So don't look for miracles when you're on it. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work. I am a great example that it does work if you stick with it, if you're patient with it, and if you use it well, because it is a tool and it's a great tool, or it can be a great tool. It's hard to meet people as we get older. Once you're out of school, how many people are you surrounded with, especially new people, are you really meeting? You have maybe people that you work with. You may not want to jump into that pool. There may not be a lot in that pool, anyways. Maybe you have some friends that could recommend you somebody that can set you up with somebody that they know. But the pool is small. It's hard to meet new people. You can go out and try to meet new people, but times have really changed. And those of you that are single and trying to meet somebody more organically, it's a lot harder because of online dating, because of the convenience of I can swipe somebody on my phone. I don't need to make that extra effort to try to talk to somebody in person. I don't need to worry about that rejection, that extra effort that it takes. The unfortunate part is that's the fun part, right? I'm sure those of you that did not grow up with online dating apps, that was fun. It was fun to go out with your friends and see who you were going to meet. And it didn't necessarily mean that it was going to turn into marriage, but it was fun to just meet somebody. You don't see that. And, I've been out with some single friends, and people don't really approach you. It's not the norm anymore. It's so interesting how things have changed, especially post COVID. Like you see a huge shift how online dating apps have really dominated so much. People don't approach you. It's very different. It is what it is, I guess, right? All right. Because there is this shift, you need to learn how to use these apps if you want to find somebody potentially. Doesn't mean you can't, but potentially. And the way to do that is creating a really attractive online profile. Okay. So if you are serious about creating an online dating profile and finding someone that suits your needs, then the first thing you need to focus on is creating an attractive online profile. Your profile is your first impression, so you need to make it count. And one of the things you need to start with is choosing high quality photos. Now, I know we talked about it earlier that you don't want it, you might not, anyways, want to create a superficial profile, but in the end, that's the first thing you see about someone. So you want to make sure that the photos you have on your profile are clear, they are recent, and they show different sides of your personality. I think this is really important. So you might want to show a picture of yourself smiling because who doesn't love positive energy? Include pictures of different activities that you might like to do. Ultimately, you want to show some diversity in your pictures, and you don't want to have pictures that where you're in a group shot. We don't know who you are. Pictures that are highly filtered. Guys, if you're going to include pictures that are super filtered or pictures that are maybe just of the head up and we don't see the rest of your body, or pictures where you have sunglasses on or a hat on and we can't really see your face, guess what? One day you're going to meet that person in person and hey, the jig is going to be up and they're going to realize you don't look like what they thought you looked like. So be authentic and put photos in there that look like you, that represent you the best. Number two, write a compelling bio. Keep it short, but keep it engaging. I mean, I don't want to read a novel, okay, but I also don't want a statement. Give me something that shows your personality. Tell me about your interests, what you're looking for. You know, if you have kids, if you want kids, if you want marriage or you don't. You know, these are things that are going to help weed out the wrong people. So give me that information. Again, make it engaging, but don't give me everything about you. Okay. Give me something that's going to draw me in so I realize, hey, this is potentially a connection. And then the idea is to get to know each other, ask questions, right? Write a compelling bio. Super important. Be authentic. There is no need to exaggerate or create an idealized version of yourself. I see this so often where you're putting things in your profile because you'd like to attract somebody, a certain type of person, but in the end, it doesn't represent who you are. Right. So don't put things in there that, that you love hiking or you love cooking and you don't just because you want to attract a person that is like that. That's maybe athletic or that likes to cook because maybe you don't. Um, you might be able to find that anyways just by being yourself. So don't put things in there. Again, you're going to meet this person and you can only hold up that facade for so long. Eventually, your true self is going to come through and the relationship is not going to work. So be you. You will find the right person just being yourself as long as you are patient. Avoid cliches. So skip the overused phrases. I love traveling Netflix. Yes, I've seen that on all these profiles. That's great. Give me something else. What makes you different? What makes you stand out? Don't forget, it's so easy to swipe to the next, right? What is going to draw me in? What is going to get me to click that like button or that match button and get me talking to you? Things to focus on to create a really engaging profile that's going to attract the right person for you. Focus on these steps, and I'm telling you, you will attract the right people. Okay, so you have this great profile, you have great pictures, and you finally have gotten a match. Now what? Well, start off with something other than, hey, and engage the person in some way. Maybe start off by talking about, where's a dream place you'd like to travel to, just as an example. Start with a fun question that really gets the conversation going. Hey is nothing. Okay. Again, I've seen this so many times where you connect with somebody and they just respond with a hey. And then it's just this like really superficial, boring conversation that goes nowhere. Give me something more. Keep the energy light. No one wants a super deep conversation right away, but I want something engaging. And I'm sure you do too. Something that it's going to get me talking, something where I'm going to be interested to want to continue talking with you. We don't need to get into all the deep stuff right in the first conversation. I've seen kind of some of that in your profile to begin with. That's why I'm attracted to you. Now let's talk. Is there any sort of a connection? Keep it somewhat light at the beginning, but not too superficial. Plan a low pressure first date. Now, if you're someone like me, I don't like talking on apps for weeks and weeks or months and months. Some people do. I don't personally get it. I feel like you're wasting my time. If there is a connection with the person, I want to meet them right away. I want to see whether we actually have real chemistry, outside of just texting. And, before you go on that first date, I do recommend, a phone conversation or a FaceTime conversation. You want to see the person. Um, Catfishing is real, guys, unfortunately. So if you don't know what catfishing it means somebody pretending to be someone that they're not, or they're putting up fake pictures of themselves. So if you don't know this person at all, I do recommend a quick FaceTime just to make sure that they are who they say they are. But first date should really be low pressure. So something like a coffee, a walk, something casual is ideal because you just want to get to know the person. Is there chemistry? Is it worth going the next step? Pay attention to red flags. If someone is being really flaky, inconsistent, these are signs. These are red flags. Okay. Trust your gut, trust your instinct. This might not be the right person for you. Move on to the next. Again, you have the convenience factor of swiping. So don't feel like you have this connection or you have this match and now you need to make it work. You don't. Okay. For better or worse, it's easy to swipe to the next in these cases. But also know if you have something good in front of you, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Appreciate what you have in front of you. Know what you have in front of you. Don't settle, but appreciate the good. And if somebody is good and you have a great connection with them and there's chemistry, is it worth taking the chance and finding somebody else that maybe isn't as good? That's up to you. But just know that as much as the user base is big on these apps, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to find a million connections. Be smart. Swipe responsibly. All right. When you're on these apps, I think you really need to be in that dating mindset. Okay. Your mindset is really key to enjoying online dating. It's easy to get burned out. It's easy to get frustrated. But ultimately, you need to set realistic expectations for yourself. Not every match will be the one, and that's okay. I found really, really great people on these apps that they didn't lead anywhere, and that's fine. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't gain something from it. Maybe I gained a friendship. Maybe it was just a nice conversation with somebody. Look at it that way. Not everyone is going to be a match. That should not discourage you from meeting people, from having great conversations. You don't know where it's going to lead in the future, and that's okay. So be realistic, go out, meet people, Okay. Let yourself off the hook. Not everything needs to work out, and not every date needs to be a bad date just because it didn't work out. Take breaks when needed. I'm telling you, burnout is real. So step back sometimes if you need to. Get off the app for a bit and then come back on when you're ready. It's fine. I definitely did that many times where something's not working, I'm getting frustrated, get off and then go back on or try a different app that maybe is going to suit your needs better. You know, it's okay. Take breaks. It shouldn't feel like a job. It really shouldn't. Enjoy the process. Think of dating as a way to meet new people. Like I said before, you shouldn't be going out there saying, I'm going out on this date to find the one. Hopefully you do. You can go out hoping to be in a serious relationship, but it shouldn't be so specific. Enjoy the process because it can be enjoyable. I did not mind online dating. It was a shift for sure from meeting people in person, but I met lots of really great people. And obviously, none of them worked out except for the last one. And I had some really great dates and really great conversations along the way. And, you know, like I said, some of them turned into friendships. So it's all good. It's all good as long as you go in with that positive mindset and you try to enjoy it as best that you can. So, um, I know that this whole process can be frustrating and there's always the fear of being catfished or ghosted. We didn't talk about ghosting. Ghosting, um, if you haven't heard of this, it was somewhat new for me. It's when you're talking with somebody or maybe even seeing somebody and they just disappear completely. It happens. Don't take it so personal and don't let it get you down. It again, because of the convenience factor, it's so easy to swipe to the next. So you might think you have this great connection and the other person might not. It sucks that it happens and it's unfortunate that it happens. I didn't really see that very much growing up, but with online dating, it seems to be somewhat of a norm, unfortunately. Grow up, people, those of you that ghost. If you're not into somebody, especially if you've been talking to them for a while, or maybe you've gone out on a few dates with them, let them know. Just be honest that you're not feeling it. I mean, ghosting is not you matched with somebody one day, you had one conversation with them and it didn't go anywhere. You don't necessarily need to provide an explanation. But if you have been talking for a while or if you've gone on a date, I think it's just out of respect that you let them know I'm not feeling this. I don't see this moving forward. Be honest. Don't leave somebody in the dark wondering. It's just out of respect. It's just common courtesy, you would think. But that is online dating for you. You either, learn it and unfortunately accept some of the cons that come with it, or you hopefully find somebody organically. It is a lot harder nowadays, unfortunately. But that brings us really to the end of today's episode of Live Life Fearlessly. Online dating really isn't perfect, but it can really be a powerful tool when approached with the right mindset and the right strategy. And hopefully I was able to give you some great strategies to help you navigate this crazy online dating world. Remember, the goal isn't to fit into someone else's idea of perfection. It's really to show up authentically and fearlessly as you. You are beautiful, you are wonderful, and you will find somebody that is perfect for you. Just be patient. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who might need a little boost in their online dating journey. Share your stories. I love to hear them. Until next time, keep living life fearlessly because you got this. I want to thank you again for tuning into this episode of Live Life Fearlessly. And remember, living fearlessly is about taking risks, embracing challenges, and never giving up on your dreams. Keep living your best fearless life. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to reach out with your thoughts and experiences. I really can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, life is a beautiful journey, and it's yours to live fearlessly.